of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone. It is the Kim Jacobs Show, and we're excited to be here today. We are here with Freestyle Friday. So we have some of our experts that are right here. Just wave. I know y'all are muted and different things, but glad to have you all here in the virtual studio audience. Grab your seats, everyone. Share the broadcast. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel, comment, and like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, all of the call to actions, all of that, just do it all. Everything that you have within your means to do. We're glad to have you here on this episode. And we're going to be talking about things that matter most to you in the community. So we get a lot of feedback from you guys, and you tell us things like self-care and mental health and finances and funding and makeup and caring for aging parents. It's all kinds of topics that get sent into the Kim Jacobs Show. So we want to make sure that we deep dive. Hey, Marvin is back there. Hey, Marvin.
How you guys doing? Great.
Good. Our funding expert. I hadn't sent him the link, so I don't want y'all to think Marvin. He was like, wait a minute now. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Thank you, Marvin, for getting on. All right. So everybody, listen, we're going to have a great time. Ask your questions. Don't let the episode go through and you don't get a chance to get questions answered that are important to you. This program streams in over 100 countries. So, and that's actually, hey, Dr. Tina Ramsey is on. Hey, Dr. Tina. It's a pleasure to have you. She actually is the founder of CTR Media Network, and we stream in 100 countries, 350 million households. So we want you to participate and enjoy your experience here. All right, let's get started. Everybody unmute yourself for a minute and just in like 30 seconds or less, tell them what they can expect when they hear from you today. Let's start with you, Sharon D. Brown.
Yes. Again, my name is Sharon D. Brown, and I'm a self-care expert. And one of the things that I do is that I work with individuals to pretty much prioritize themselves in their lives, in their business. And what I'm going to talk about today is pretty much is how can you be your authentic self and do things in alignment to be great? Because a lot of times we think about, self-care as of having a massage, going to the spa, eating chocolate, and all of those things add to. However, it's also those things that make you you. So that'll be what I'll be talking about today.
Awesome. Y'all know y'all gonna have some questions for that. So go ahead and get your fingers right. All right, Venitra. Venitra is new to being one of our Freestyle Friday experts. So she like, girl, sandwich me in because I don't know what's the format, what's happening. So Venitra, what can they expect from you today?
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Venitra, and I was my mother's primary care. And she lived with an Alzheimer's diagnosis. So kind of to piggyback on what Sharon is going to talk about, I'm going to bring it from an angle of being a family caregiver and how to take care of yourself and not fall victim to caregiver burnout.
Not fall victim to caregiver burnout. You know how that can happen even unbeknownst to us. So that yes. I cannot wait to hear what you're going to say about that. Ebony, you're going to be talking about some things today. Ebby, so tell us what you're talking about.
Okay, so today we are just going to be touching a little bit on the differences between a foundation and a skin tint. This again goes with self-care and how you present yourself, and just giving you a couple of different options on different days. Maybe you don't have all day to do everything. So we're going to get you to where you need to be a little bit faster and give you some more time.
That's good. And you heard Ebby's phone over there ding. That's because we were part of a cousins chat. She's my real first cousin. So just so everybody knows. And I sent this over to the cousins chat. That may be like too much information for everybody, but I want y'all to know this. We do this whole thing, cousins lunch and all kind of stuff. So this is one of my first cousins here. Hey, Ebony. All right, we talk later, girl. All right, Marvin, tell everybody what they can expect.
Well, definitely coming from me, we're in the era right now of a resignation era. So a lot of people are, of course, getting into their own businesses and looking to, build a legacy or, build a platform or something that they really love doing. So I really want to bring on a lot of different ideas and instruments that we can use when either applying for funding and different creative ways that we can build our platform. It could be lucrative and it could be a lot less stressful when it comes to looking for monies for your business. That's
really good. Okay. Yeah. So Marvin, and he's very modest. But this man was known in the Charlotte. If you're in a different country, you may not even know what I'm talking about. But in the Charlotte and surrounding areas, he was known as like the ticket master kind of guy. And these events, it would be like 30,000 folk in attendance. And one of the masterminds behind that was Marvin. And so I'm just so glad to have you here, Marvin, and really want people to connect with you and the different things that you do from a funding perspective, because you know your stuff. So I'm really excited about you being here. And I don't know, people don't know that about, I didn't know that about you. I'm like, Ticketmaster, back. There are African Americans we as African Americans, we deep dive and try and figure out what, and get to the root of it. It's Marvin involved. Yeah. Anyway. We got somebody in the house here. So I'm so glad to have all of our Freestyle Friday experts. And we're going to, right after this commercial break, go ahead and get started with Sharon D. Brown. Are we ready for this, everybody? Sharon, you ready?
Yes.
All right. Everybody, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back and hear from our self-carepreneur expert. Oh, okay, Mackenzie, I don't know.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe D. Bear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown-Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right, everyone, we are back and we're going to hear from Sharon D. Brown, our self-carepreneur expert. Take it away, Sharon.
Thank you. And again, pretty much when people think about self-care, they always kind of think about, like I said before, think about showers and baths and bubble baths and chocolate and a spa. And all of those things are definitely needed and they are self-care too. But if you think about it a little deeper, because most people say, oh, it makes me feel good. But thinking about a little deeper of what it does for you. It's like, yes, it makes me feel good, but it makes me feel good so I can use my voice. And so, again, we were talking about whether it's in business or your personal life. And I always say, we really can't separate ourselves, right. In the sense that it allows you to use your voice. because in your personal life, and especially in business, I'm going to say especially both of them, there are times that we may need to, tell someone something that may be a little uncomfortable. And so
Right.
self-care is, what are those things you need to do, like to have the confidence in order to do that. And even though a bubble bath may be able, to make you feel good the night before, the shower in the morning, especially if you know that you need to um, address something with someone,
Right.
but a self-care act can be like in breathing. And sometimes we may need to do like a lot of times I always like the ones that make me just feel good, but sometimes you may need a rapid breathing to give you the energy. So at times you may need to do something to give you the energy so you can have the confidence. And really, when you think about it, when you're telling someone something and you really don't want to tell them and you dread it, there's an energy that kind of comes with it. So you got to pump yourself up, you
Okay.
know? So that's what self-care is all about. Because I really want people to think of self-care, not just the bubble baths and the luxury. It's kind of like what it does for you and to you when it comes to that. Because we're not able to like have the words that we need to say if we're like, oh, well, I need to tell you something. Like somebody come to me like that. I'm like, what? So it's
Mhm.
kind of like what I kind of call it now. I don't call it uncomfortable conversations. I've been stopped saying that. Then I started saying conversations. Now I say reality conversation because it's whatever that is. Now the kicker is again, self-care is okay. I'm telling someone, I need to address something. But what if someone needs to address something with me? Because again, we're telling everybody, oh, speak your truth, say what you need to say. But what if someone needs to say something to me that may be uncomfortable and it may make me feel uncomfortable? So self care is doing what I need to do in order to receive it. And so
That's
that can be to take a deep breath and it's like, let me hear a little bit what they're saying. And, like sometimes we'll say, oh, well, we don't like the delivery or something. To be honest, when something, is uncomfortable and like someone is telling us about our blind spot, in which we
mhm.
need that in order to grow, in order
That's
to
right.
be great. Because this is all for your personal life and for your business. And so it's like, what are the things that I need to do in order to be able to accept the truth of someone else? And that
Right.
is to be able to take a deep breath and even just to, like when we're in meditation or prayer, to say something in the sense where, help me to be able to receive the things that I need to be able to receive in order to be my greatness. Because I may need to be able to hear something that I may not want to hear. In which this doesn't bother me, but I'm glad people remind me
Right.
because I have like a soft spoken voice. Like sometimes when I'm speaking, depends on where I am, someone may say, Sharon, can you speak up a little louder? Because like I'm a therapist, and not that all therapists are like this, but I do have that soft spoken voice. And so I need that reminder. And like I say, I don't think I've never like, ooh, why are they telling me that, or anything like that. But for anything that someone tells you, like sometimes we have to say there could be some truth in that and what they're saying. So can we accept the truth of someone else because of the
That's good.
fact? How can we really we say we want to be great, we want to do all of these things, but it also comes with a lot of criticism. So
Mm.
are you going to be able to receive that? What are the things that you are doing to be able to be confident in who you are and what you're doing and what you're fighting for yourself and for your family and for your community?
I
So
love
self-care is, you could say having the confidence, but it's doing the things in order to have the confidence. Let's say if there's negative self-talk, and not being able to hear the negative self-talk, and to be able to use affirmation in order to do that, in order to, like I say, to take a pause and it's like, let me hear what they're saying. And then sometimes, people just going to be nervous because they're speaking the truth, but they could, say, something positive. But if you're entering that yourself in a negative way, because, for whatever reason, I think it's just a human thing when we get a little nervous when someone say, oh yeah, I need to talk to you about something, you're like, huh? But, but a lot of times it's how we approach it too. And if we're hearing what they need to say, sometimes they may just need to get something off their chest, may have nothing to do with us. But if someone is, quote unquote, checking us, just really hear, because we really do have blind spots, and we're not going to be able to be at the greatness that we can be if we're not willing to hear, listen, and adjust, because sometimes we may need to make some adjustments. And so for the most part, that is what self-care is all about, is getting to the underbelly of who we are so we can walk in greatness.
Wow, that is some really great information. Let me put the panel back up. Anybody want to respond to anything that has been shared that Sharon shared, which is a very different school of thought when it comes to self-care? Anybody unmute yourself, feel free. And in the studio audience, I see a comment that came in that I think would be good for you to answer too. So let me know if you all in the panel want to say anything. Let's see. Make It Make Sense says, people never really like my delivery when it comes to how I deliver myself. So any thoughts on that, Sharon?
Yeah, and when it comes to that, pretty much what I would say, because I am a firm believer that we're all responsible for ourselves. And if all of us are doing our own self-care, that's something that person needs to work on, because a part of self-care is being able to study and to say, hey, he's like that all the time. So it's nothing personal of me, because that's just their delivery. So I need to be able to work on myself to be able to say, this is not, like the delivery is not about me, because we're all going to get triggered for different reasons. I always say activate. So when we're activated, to see how you can adjust. And so it's pretty much look at people patterns, because self-care is to be able to look at other people to say, okay, where they're coming from, and is this me? And if this is triggering me, what's this about? Because again, when people are talking, let's say, like there's, a total of 5 of us. Someone can say something can resonate with me, and then something may not. And I need to be able to just, allow it to flow. And so we're responsible for how we are reacting when it comes to, someone else's delivery, because that's a part of being great.
Yeah. Yes. And Candace actually said that self-care transcends, and what we've been taught. She always learns something every time that you speak, Sharon. Very grateful for this panel today. And another comment came in that Sharon always shares so many jewels of wisdom. All right. Anybody on the panel want to say anything? Other than that, we're going to get going right to our next expert. Anybody? Yes, I read that comment. Thank you, Mackenzie. Let's see. All right. So tell people too, Sharon, how they can stay connected with you.
Yeah, pretty much you can go to IG. So I am Sharon D Brown on Instagram, and you can stay in touch with me that way.
All right. All right, everybody. We'll put that in the comments section as well. We're going to go right now to our new Freestyle Friday expert, Venitra White-Dean. And Venitra, we're glad to have you here today, being our caregiving expert. So talk to us about what you have for us today.
So, Sharon, thank you so much for just kind of bringing this on into what I'm going to talk about. I appreciate that. And I'm going to come from the caregiver's perspective. And I can speak to that on a personal level because I was my mother's primary caregiver when she lived with an Alzheimer's diagnosis for almost 10 years. And caregiver burnout is a real thing. And I don't know if a lot of people actually understand that. Caregiver burnout, it affects you physically, emotionally, and mentally. And it will affect your body. It will affect you physically. It will affect you mentally. And so we want to give you all some tips on how to combat that and not fall, like I said, not fall victim to that caregiver burnout. And one of the first things I'm going to say is don't be afraid to ask for help. I was guilty of that. I didn't think anybody could take care of my mother the way I could take care of my mother. So it was all hands on deck for me, my husband, my daughter. We were all in doing everything. Didn't feel like we needed to ask anybody. We were like, oh, we got this under control. We don't need help. We got it until we didn't got it. And excuse
Right.
yeah, we didn't have it all together. I realized that I couldn't be Superwoman all the time. My husband could not be Superman all the time. We needed to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. And we have male caregivers, and I sent all of our male caregivers an article from the Alzheimer's Association a couple of days ago, and it was focused on male caregivers. And it talked about how men, feel like they have to be in charge. They're the head of the household, they're fixers, so they want to fix everything. And one of the guys in the article talked about caring for his wife. And he talked about how he was so adamant about trying to fix her Alzheimer's that he wasn't living in the moment of taking care of himself and taking care of his wife as his wife and not trying to be the fixer. And he had to end up putting her in an assisted living facility. And he said when he did that, he realized how much he was neglecting himself as opposed to, trying to help her through that. He realized he needed to help himself. So I tell people all the time, don't be afraid to ask for help and be specific when you ask for help. I remember we had some friends that would come over and be like, hey, what do you need? Can you fold the laundry for me? Can you wash the dishes for me? It's little things that people don't think about that really make a difference. And Kim, yesterday at the eWomen Network event, I was talking to a lady and we talked about if somebody could come to the house and give you an hour to take an uninterrupted nap, that 1 hour nap makes a huge difference when you're a caregiver. So don't be afraid to ask for help and don't be afraid to be specific about what help you need. People just don't know unless you ask them. And another thing is set attainable goals. As if your life as a caregiver, you don't have 4 hours to go, Sharon, if you don't have 4 hours to go to a spa, go get a manicure, pedicure, go to a movies. If you don't have that chunk of time, take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, take 30 minutes to do something that will bring you joy. I know I used to get up a few minutes earlier when mama was living. I would get up a little bit earlier just to have some time for myself because I knew once I got her up, it was boom, 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 trying to get out the door, get her to adult daycare, get my day going. And then when she got home, it was boom, 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 boom. So I made sure I made time for myself in the morning. And then we had a routine. And then in the evening, when she went to bed, that was my time. So caregivers, set a routine and stick to it as much as possible. And just like you schedule doctor's appointments, just like you schedule dentist appointments, schedule some time for yourself on a regular basis. And that goes back to asking for help. If you want to schedule a massage, the first Monday of every month, ask a friend, ask a family member, ask a coworker or somebody, hey, can you come to the house and sit with my mom or sit with my dad? I want to go and get a massage the first Monday of every month. So schedule some time for yourself, just like you schedule time for doctor's appointments. Get connected. And a shameless plug for the Frankie May Foundation. We are a connector for family caregivers. We provide so many support services for family caregivers. So get plugged in with other caregivers because they know what you're going through. And I can talk to you as a caregiver because I've been there, done that, not because I read a book on caregiving, not because I saw a movie about somebody being a caregiver, but because I know that life as a caregiver. So when you're around other people that have been through what you've been through and are going through what you're going through, that connection really makes a difference. And you can bond with each other, you can talk to each other. There's no judgment. You can cry, you can laugh, you can do whatever you need to do when you're in the company of people that know what you're doing and know what you're going through. Find your village. Whatever your village is, find your village and make it work. And again, going back to setting doctor's appointments, make sure you're taking care of yourself. I know with my mom, I made sure my mom was at her primary care all the time. When she saw a gerontologist, she saw a neurologist, and I made sure I kept her doctor's appointments. But I also needed to make sure I was going to my primary care on a regular basis. I had to make sure I was going to my dentist on a regular basis. I had to make sure, I turned 50 while we were caring for her. I had to make sure my husband and I went and got our colonoscopies. So make sure you're taking care of yourself as much as you're taking care of that person that you're caring for. And I read some statistics a while back about caregivers actually passing away before the person that they're caring for. And so when you pass away because you're neglecting yourself, who's going to take care of that person that you've been caring for?
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
make sure you take care of yourself. And I know sometimes in our community, therapy is a taboo word, but get you a therapist. I'm a firm believer in prayer, but I also believe, in addition to that prayer, find you a therapist that you connect with and get some therapy. Talk to somebody other than your family members, other than your friends, because they haven't gone through the process to be able to talk to you and to be able to listen to you and to be able to help you navigate through that journey. Caregiving is different, and you need to be able to talk to someone about what you're going through. And again, your friends aren't equipped for that. Your family isn't equipped for that. And let them be your friend and let your family members be your family members and not your therapist. So that's my take. Make sure you take some time for yourself. Make sure you let people know that you need some help and take advantage of resources that are out there for you.
Wow. Some comments and questions have come in, so I want to make sure we get those in from the studio audience. The tips that you've shared are I think they're life-changing for caregivers. So if people will apply what's being shared, I know as the balance doctor, I share very similar tips, but I'm talking about it from a perspective of putting yourself on your calendar, having one master calendar where everything is there. And I literally schedule pretty much everything. My daughter said, hey, Mom, I want to go to the gym. I pull my calendar out and I block the time of when I'm going to take her to the gym, because if it's not on my master calendar, it's not really going to happen. So it just slips through the cracks. And so everything that you've said, I endorse and I believe, and I actually teach very similar things from a different perspective. So questions that's come in, you can definitely get burnt out as a caregiver. I'm going through it now. Any other point you want to make to her? You've already made all of the points, I think.
So, Monk Chip, where are you located? If you're in Charlotte, I would love for you to become a part of the foundation. But even if you aren't in Charlotte, if you can get in touch with me and we can talk. I'm here to listen. I'm here to talk. I'm here to just be that support system that you need.
And she's available virtually too. So even if you're nowhere near Charlotte, you can reach out to her. And any other comments, I'll put the actual contact information back up. But any other comments that came in that we want to pop on the screen right quick? Let's see. Because I saw different comments. Candace said, thank you for this share. It's so easy to slip into burnout mode when you're caregiving. And that's a great point, Candace. Excellent advice. I see you said excellent advice. There is nothing like connecting with fellow caregivers who share your experience. Say that one more time. I know you've already addressed it, but why is it so important to kind of fellowship with other believers, supporters?
Because they know what you're going through. They can empathize with what you're going through. And this isn't some textbook that we read to talk about caregiving. This is real life experience that we have gone through, and there's no judgment. I mean, there were times I despised caregiving. I'm just being fully transparent. There were times I wanted to get in my car and drive as far as I could go until my car ran out of gas and just stayed wherever I was and let everybody else figure it out. That's just the reality of it. And, I had those days where it was miserable. I had those days where it was so much fun being with my mom, caring for her, loving on her. And I had to distinguish between, I know one time I was, in one of those moods where I didn't ask to be a caregiver. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. But then I had to think, my mom didn't ask for an Alzheimer's diagnosis.
That's right.
So I had to get all that out of my mind, get all that out of my system, and focus on taking care of her the best that I could while I was taking care of myself.
Great. I'm glad you developed that mindset and grabbed hold, as my grandma would say, to that wisdom. That's excellent. Monk Chip. I said Monk. Made up a whole new name. Monk Chip said that they're in Charlotte, in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's where you are.
Okay. So still, my information will be
here. It is. Tell people how to stay connected.
Yeah. Please reach out to me, and we can find out some resources in South Carolina and get you connected.
Now, for my audio podcast listeners, there are people listening with iHeartRadio and Amazon Music and all of those, SoundCloud and all of that. Tell people so they can know how to stay connected with you.
So the website is www.frankiemayfoundation.com, and that's spelled FRANKIEMAE foundation.com. And we're on Instagram at Frankie May Foundation and Facebook at Frankie May Foundation.
Excellent. And I do want to pop this image up because yesterday at our eWomen Network event, we featured this nonprofit organization, Frankie May Foundation. You can learn more about them at frankiemayfoundation.com. And Venitra is the founder. She said you can't pour from an empty cup. And right there in the lovely white blouse is her mom.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm very grateful that you've started this foundation in honor of your mom. And thank you for being our featured nonprofit organization. If you want to learn more about eWomen Network, you can visit eWomenNetwork.com and learn a lot about the organization. I'm the managing director in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So I'd love to have you be a part of that business organization. Let me pull over Ebony, my first cousin from Ebby Marie Reviews. So I am super excited to have her here. Right after this commercial break, we're going to be having some makeup tips from Ebby. So we'll be right back, everybody. All right, everyone, we are back. And Abby, we are ready for some makeup advice with this winter season happening. Dry, cracked skin, all of that stuff is happening. Talk to us, please.
Okay, so I was going to pivot a little bit to piggyback off of Miss Sharon and Miss Venitra, with making sure that your cup stays full in
Okay.
regards to self-care. So taking care of yourself should always be a priority, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. So what we want to do is we want to set aside time first thing in the morning or before we're getting ready to leave to make sure that we are presentable when we leave the house. So when I sit down to do a face or put on my makeup or get ready at the beginning of the day, I set the mood, I play music. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's the quiet that I need. But I set specifically this time where there'll be no interruptions, where I can get through the process of getting my face together to help me be prepared for the day that I have ahead. So I want people to understand that putting on your makeup, you can make it into like your time where you like that's the time when I talk to the Lord, as while I am putting is getting my face together.
So
Sometimes
you
just
spend a whole hour talking to the Lord then, because you be doing that. I don't want to joke in the middle, but it take a long time for you to do some
And I
makeup.
do.
Like, girl, I be doing this in 5 minutes or less.
Absolutely. This is not even if it's a 5 minute, 10 minute quick job just to get out the house, even then that I'm talking and communing with the Lord the entire time through, or praying, or however you want to say it. I'm having a conversation with God, and you know that is how I start my day to set it in motion, so that to make sure that my cup is full. So once I leave out of the house and start to pour, I don't run out halfway through the day. So I just take the time. It's necessary. It's important. We tend to put ourselves on the back burner. Well, I'll just do X, Y, and Z just to get through, and not really taking the time to sit down, calm yourself, get your thoughts together before you start your day. So I do that while I'm putting on my makeup. So because it's the winter season, I do a little extra before I start to put on my makeup to make sure that my skin is moisturized, because once you go outside, the cold is going to try and suck all of the moisture out of your face, your hands, anything that is exposed to the cold. So my recommendation is you go from the thinnest to the heaviest. This is how you start your skincare routine. So I'll start with like a light skin spray serum, and I will go to like a moisturizing cream, and then I'll end with something like an oil
You put
on
all
my
of that on your face?
yes,
All of that?
all of it. Yes.
Okay, wow.
I go from a light spray. This is a watermelon serum spray from Glow Recipe. And then I will go to my Neutrogena water moisturizer. And then I'll end with a face oil. This is before I put on primer. This is just to prep my face in preparation to put makeup on your face. Um, it also puts a barrier in between your face and the makeup, so it's less damage done to your skin.
So you always want to moisturize, just like you want to moisturize your body so that you're not dry and ashy. You also want to do the same for your face. And that's both in the morning before you put on makeup, and once you take all of your makeup off and you wash your face. When you wash your face, the soap that you use, it's stripping all of the makeup, but it's also stripping all of the oils and anything else that is on your face and any moisture out of your face. So your face will be dry once you cleanse your face and wash all the makeup off. So you want to replace what you took off. So again, not you use a heavier moisturizer, maybe a sugar scrub for your lips and a lip mask to make sure that your lips stay moisturized. You If you don't have an hour, because I can take up to an hour 30 minutes to do a face. If you don't have that amount, stop laughing at me, Kim. If you don't have that amount of time, because most of us, honestly, we don't. We maybe have 15, 20, 30 minutes to get it done. And you don't want to put like a heavy foundation, like a full coverage foundation, because there are levels to this, just like there are with anything else, then I suggest that you use a skin tint. And a skin tint is a lighter version of a foundation. Today I have on the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Tint. It'll give you some coverage, but still look like it's just your skin, but it will even you out and like because I have hyperpigmentation on my face. I have moles and things like that. And this will it won't cover everything, but it will even you out so that you look like you did a lot, but you really didn't. And it's very, very light, because I know some people don't like a heavier foundation, or I don't want to do all of that. Put a little skin tint on, possibly a little concealer if you need to, and you can go do your brows, and you can go out just like and put some on your lips, please Jesus. But and then you can go out of the house just like that, and you have put on almost a whole face, and you have evened out any skin issues that you may personally have, and you haven't had to take 30 minutes or an hour to do foundation, concealer, bronzer, this, and you still have the effect of having a full put together face on. Also, let me think what also setting spray is very important for those of us who perspire a lot, even in this cold weather. We don't want our face sliding off of our face. So I would suggest using a setting spray after you've put on your foundation, and then again at the very end, once you're all done with your face, spray your face one more time, just to make sure that it'll hold your makeup longer. And there are certain sprays from like one size. They have it's called on till dawn setting spray. And I especially would recommend that for those of us who sweat. I use one size primer and setting spray on Sundays because I'm on the praise and worship team, and I'm on a stage and I'm under hot lights. And by the time we're done praising the Lord, I be done cried and sweated and everything, but my face will still be on my face.
That's interesting, because I've seen that. I was like, I don't know how that's humanly possible. My whole face is wiped off if I do that.
Also, if you sweat, dab. Take a paper towel and don't swipe, because you're going to wipe it off, but dab
at the sweat or at the tears under your eyes if you're crying. Dab, don't swipe because it's because it is a cream-based product. It's going to wipe off. But if you dab, it'll not disturb your makeup as much.
Okay. Well, this is good advice. Thank you so much.
No
And so now, how can people stay connected with you, Ebony?
Oh, you can stay connected with me on my YouTube channel at Ebby Reviews. Also on Instagram at The Real Ebby Reviews. I'm Ebby Reviews everywhere. That's how you
That's okay. And so here, Candace said, thank you for the tips. I'm very new to makeup, so this is informative. Do you do makeovers? Because I know I've had people that are talk show hosts that graduate from my training, how to start their own show from scratch. And then they want to have a one-on-one makeover session with you. And I know you meet with them for like an hour and stuff like that and do their makeover virtually. Is that something you can offer everyone here?
Yes. And you can, my email is ebbicosby@aol.com. And you just put in the subject line makeover or makeup tips, and we can schedule a session where we will start with the naked face, the both of us, and we will go through all of the steps to get you to a full face together. I'll answer any and every question that you have, and you can just reach out for the rates for a session or two if you feel like you need more than one.
All right. And I just wanted to pop up a couple of these images that I saw. I see that you do some bold stuff, and I saw some mild ones over there as well. And I wanted to just pop those up as well. So thank you so much, Ebby, my first cousin, for being here today. I appreciate you.
Pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you in the studio audience for all of your participation so far. We have none other than Marvin Wilson here in the house. Marvin, How are you today?
Great. How you doing, Kim?
Doing great. I'm doing better now that I know you like, no, I know they didn't just say the man for last and not to try. Look, see your eyebrows gave it away. You like, how I get last in the lineup. You know why?
No, fine.
We knew you were going to be bringing, we did the self-care, the caregiving, makeup, and then now it's time to fund everything that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah. Well, kudos to all the definitely other guests. It was definitely some valuable information. I definitely want to talk to Miss Venitra because it's definitely some quality information that comes to family members. It was really relative to my to my situation. So definitely want to reach out to her about that. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. What do you have for us today? Talk to us.
So today is, first and foremost, like Kim was speaking, I come from the entertainment sector. I used to do more Black Ticketmaster. I would say that because of course, being a Black man and having ticketing modules and convention centers and, people like, oh, were you walking around the street selling tickets? No, I had ticketing systems in concert buildings. So big difference. So it was a whole lot of thought and a whole lot of money that was involved in being able to get inside of, buildings that's going to make money with you. Right. So once I changed hat and got into the financial side, I really always wanted to be a problem solver, and then learning what most of the problems when it comes to really sustaining in the business or building a business is you got to sort of know what type of business to get into. And when you do, understanding that if you're going to ask for money, it doesn't matter if you love what you do, but the name of the business, what type of NAT code that your business is in, that's the way the banks and the way the credit unions are going to relate to you, right? So what I say is looking for and asking for monies, there's certain things as a no-no when it comes to asking for money, meaning like if you set up your business, you say, I'm in consulting, that's automatic, pretty much about a 50% denial or 40 or 50% of what you would probably ask for, you're not going to get it. Meaning that if you was asking for 50 grand, they probably wouldn't give you no more than 25. Why? because there's certain things called a NAT code. And I want you guys, anybody out there that's in business, definitely understand what that is, because connected to how you set your business up and how the banks look at you. A NAT code is the North American Industry Classification System. Okay.
North American, what is it?
Yeah, North American Industry Classification System. And that's sort of the Bible when it comes to how banks say, oh, well, Kim, she's the balance doctor, but she's too risky based on her classification of what her business sits up under. And you can look up under the business that you set it up, and you'll be able to see how risky it is. Maybe you might just not even change the name. I don't want to say change the name of your business, but the area that your business is in. Okay. And so I give a lot of different, consulting when it comes to people, because I say, I don't want to change the dynamics and the brand of your business, but I want to make sure that you're in the right area, that when the banks look at you, that you're fundable, right? And you're not risky. I talk to a lot of people that's in transportation. I talk to people that own car dealerships. Those are things that, regardless of you're big or small, they're not going to give you money in those categories. Real estate is another one. If you are in real estate, you want to get into what type of real estate are you into? And it's just certain things that you need to know. So much with that. I definitely want to let you guys know that's just a big red flag. When I have a lot of great businesses that I run into, they're just they're disqualified because of the business and how it's classified. Now, there's different type of funding, right? So when you get into business, it used to be 3 years, now 5 years. So up until 5 years being in business, banks are going to qualify you as a startup business. Startup means, again, you're risky. And I like to just say it for what it is. Banks and credit unions and financial institutions are not set up to lose. Okay. They don't lose. So when you come to them for money, they're looking at all the pros and cons. First, they're going to look at all the the cons, meaning that you're going to have to show them sustainable income, right? You're going to have to show them great personal credit. And I'll talk about the other side later. Personal credit, you're going to have to show a significant income of revenue, meaning net revenue that comes through your business after bills are paid. And then you're going to have to also show some type of credibility if you have business credit set up. So startup businesses, well, Marvin, I just started my business 6 months ago. So how can I show them business credit? Or I just started my business 2 months ago. How can I show them bank statements? And I just started my business. Well, this is how they look at it. If you're in a startup business, you need to know this as a business owner. I need to have a 680 FICO. So I would definitely look at Experian, guys. There's a lot of things like Cash, Credit Karma, a lot of other monitoring systems that you look at to look at your credit. Look at Experian. Okay. Experian is the big boy now. They're the gorilla that says, hey, they're good, they're bad. These are accurate credit scores. And this is how they pay their mortgage. This is how they're paying their cars. This is how they're paying their credit cards. Experian is the Bible when it comes to credit right now. So with that being said, when you're in a startup position, you want to make sure that you definitely want to be a 680 or better. You definitely want to have payment history, meaning that whatever you've been paying on getting into business, you want to make sure you have sustainable payment history, that you're not maxed out on your credit cards, meaning that you're 30% or higher when it comes to your credit debt ratio on your revolving credit, which is your credit cards. And then also when it looks at your payment history, they want to at least be able to see at least 5 to 7 years of payment history. And that means all together, right? So that means that whatever you're paying on, whether it be your car, your house, your credit cards, if they see 5 to 7 years of more consistent payment history that's in good status, then that puts you in a good to say, hey, we can consider them being fundable, or we can give them monies. So when me being into financial technology and I'm opening up this fintech non-depository bank, I'm the guy that jumped on the scene after COVID, right?
Right.
So what is that, Marvin? So I'm the guy that banks will send you to. Well, we have certain relationships with lenders that says, well, you don't qualify for us. Well, let us send you to Marvin, and Marvin is set up with us, and he's credible that we can tell him that he can look at your credit and he can tell you what's wrong. We can't fix you. We can't help you. The banks are going to be like, I'm sorry, you was not approved. But we in fintech banking, financial technology, we look at your data, the stuff that I'm giving you now that we know about, and we're going to tell you, well, Miss Kim Jacobs, I'm sorry, you have excellent credit, but you don't have enough payment history. So we can't really give you this credit card at this time. But what we can do is we can tell you some other areas that you can add to your credit so you can look a little bit more sustainable, and you can look a little bit more, less risky. So in the next 3 to 6 months, we can give you these resources, and then you can come back and we can give you that $25,000. So
wow.
Yeah. So we collect data. I'm gonna make it very simple. We collect data from the big banks and credit unions. They give it to us. We do data mining on what works and what doesn't work when it comes to underwriting for these different banks and institutions, and we work with them, or we help them with their criteria when it comes to helping people get funding for businesses.
Wow.
So that's just a lot of, I don't want to, confuse people, but there's right now, guys, it's about data. It's about how your information is classified. That's why you have to protect your data. You have to be very careful about things that you are applying for. And you got to make sure that if you're getting into business, what type of business that you're getting into. Okay. So those are the things that I really wanted to cover. Now, when it comes to personal credit and business credit, big. Okay. Well, commingling the two is not good. Sometimes it can get a little bit confusing. As a startup company, being in business for the first 5 years, well, Marvin, I don't have any business credit. So how do I, how can I get approved for anything when I don't have any business credit? Well, Kim, first thing they're going to do, and guys, they're going to look at your personal credit. They're going to say, okay, well, Kim has a 720 credit score on her personal credit. So you know what, since she just started her business 2 weeks ago, you know what, we can go ahead and give her an opportunity to get business credit, even though they're not really giving it to you, but they're going to let you apply with your personal credit. That's called personal guaranteeing the loan, meaning that Kim is risky, but we're going to give her an opportunity to get funding because she got good personal credit. And we're going to let her use this for her business. Now, what Kim's going to need to do is, great, I got great personal credit, and she's going to need to know the type of credit cards to apply for, and she's going to need to know the type of funding that when she do apply with her personal credit, that it's going to be recorded under the business, meaning that she used her personal credit for the funding, but it's going to be under, and I'm saying, quote unquote, Kim Incorporated. A lot of times people are doing business, but they're not really doing business. They're using their personal funding, and they're trying to interject their personal funding into the business. You got to know how that's looked, meaning that you're going to have your paydex score. You're going to have a relationship somewhat with Dun and Brad. Paydex score meaning your business credit score. Like you got your FICO and your personal credit. Well, you're going to have to establish your business credit, which is called a paydex score. And your paydex score needs to be between 80 to 100. I don't want to get much into that, but that's the score that you need to have.
People want consultations with you. I see people clapping on different platforms. So on Facebook, people are clapping. They're like, bravo, bravo.
Yeah.
How do people, Candace said, this is great information. What is needed for a consultation with you? Tell people how they can connect with you urgently.
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach out to me through funding-credit.com. I'm definitely on Funding Credit with the arching arms on Instagram and LinkedIn, across the board, all the social media avenues. You could definitely, give me an email at info@funding-credit.com. And, somebody in the office or one of my assistants will definitely pick it up. But I'm more into looking at someone's profile and sort of telling you, like I tell people, you don't have to come to me. I can get you funding, but I would rather give you the consultation so you clear on where you need to go to say, okay, I'm going to land here. Marvin, I'm banked with Bank of America. How do I need to look towards Bank of America so I can get money with, I like Bank of America. Okay, right. But Bank of America is not going to tell you what they're looking for to give you the money, right? Wow. You can open up a personal account, business account, you can go in there, but the information and the underwriting criteria, you really need to know what it needs to look like in whoever you're banking with so you can be successful.
You need Marvin Wilson over there in your life. So make sure you all stay connected with him and get your consultation. And I want to hear a closing comment from everyone that before we close out here. I did ask if you all have any questions in the community, in the actual studio audience. So I think you've been asking your questions each time the experts have come on. I want to share one thing with you all for one of our episode sponsors. This is an incredible opportunity, especially with it being tax season right now. I want to make sure you know that they are providing solutions for employment credit, and it's ERC funding. It can be very complicated process, but you're going to be able to find out here on this link how you qualify. It's not just for people that have W-2s, but also if you are a 1099 employer, you definitely want to learn more about this organization and what is employee retention credit. And when COVID hit, there were so many different challenges and things that shut the world down on a lot of different regards. But this program, Employee Retention Credit, or ERC, is a generous stimulus program designed to bolster your business when you're able to retain your employees during these challenging times. All of the information is here. They have up to $26,000 per employee, no limit on funding. ERC is not a loan. It's available, and there's refundable tax credits for you. And I have all of the information that the representative is sharing with you. She also does it it's like it's end of life, final life expense. So all of us know that at some point we're going to be experiencing death. And the way that her services work with GetInsured.Solutions as one of our episode sponsors, she's able to help the funds stay more in your home versus having to put it all out for burial expenses. So there are two different services that you'll learn about when you reach out to Samantha Benson. You definitely want to reach out to Samantha Benson. Let her know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way, especially with this ERC. I learned some stuff in a workshop that she's doing that I did not know I even qualified for as a small business owner. So you get to learn these things. 704-499-3616. 704-499-3616. And our episode sponsor, Dr. Joe D. Bear. Go to drjod.com, drjod.com, and let her know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. And the final sponsor is this coffee that everybody's been raving about. I get calls, texts, everything. So vpproducts.store, whatever's going on with that coffee, people think it's the best coffee that they've experienced. So I'm grateful that they're one of today's episode sponsors. Closing comment from each of you. Let's go with a closing comment from you, Venitra. Unmute yourself and share one closing comment.
So for my one closing comment is caregivers, please do self-care and do not fall victim to caregiver burnout.
Okay, that's good. Sharon D. Brown.
Yes, my closing comment is, excuse me, is pretty much when it comes to self-care, make sure that you are truly focused on yourself and it's not being selfish, because as we can hear in being a caregiver of how it can impact you and making sure you're doing those things, even when it comes down to you taking care of your skin, that's a type of self-care as well. And when it comes to money, and so all of those things encompass you. So it's not just one area of self-care. And if you need to, pretty much more tips and consultations, definitely get in touch with me.
And that's at I am Sharon D. Brown. All right. Oh, no. Marvin. Let's go with Marvin. We're not going to put you last for the comments.
Yep, that's all right. That's all right. Well, listen, guys, like I say, business is business, and, we have to do things in order, right? God is order. Everything is order. We want to do it right. So I know a lot of this is a little like mind jargon on what I'm talking about, but just there's help out there. People like myself, just make sure you're putting the right things in place because it's your time, it's your business, it's your career. And just make sure you're doing things right so you don't have to go and do them over again. So just be mindful of, when you're going out looking for funding and getting the right direction on applying your business to certain platforms, how you look and how they're looking at you.
That's some good feedback. Ebby, your final comment.
Take the time. You're worth it.
All right. Take the time. Take the time. You're worth it. And my final comment is, listen, this episode and the whole Kim Jacobs Show is sponsored by you, community members. So in order for the community show to bring balance to the world, one household at a time, go and do some type of contribution to the Kim Jacobs Show, $Kimjacobsinc, and other platforms that you can find us on. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Thank you to you guys. Venitra, you did amazing. Your first time as our Freestyle Friday. Well, I'm so excited and proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you all in the studio audience for being a part of today's Freestyle Friday. And thank all of our panelists. You all, Sharon, your tips are always like mind-blowing. I love this. Every one of you brings so much value to the Kim Jacobs Show. And we are bringing balance to the entire world, one household at a time. Have a great day. Thank you, Mackenzie, backstage. Thank you, Cassandra. All right. Have a great one, everybody. You can take it away, Mackenzie. Have a great one. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference. And I look forward to you bringing your friends and family